Hello and welcome to episode 240, a nice even number of Sudden Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill. Hey, Jason, I've been talking offline about the NBA 75th anniversary team, and first of all, we did talk about this, Jay, but I love the commercial with the neighborhood kind of thing.
Yeah, that was very cool.
That's very cool. I really like that commercial. I think it speaks well of the NBA and what they are, and it kind of makes it like a fun thing to see. But we were talking about the 75th team, and neither of us have an issue with the guys that are on the 75th team. I had an issue with Kendrick Perkins saying that Dwight Howard should be on it and Bill Walton should not be on it. And I totally disagree. And to me, he must never have seen any footage or any video of Bill Walton leading the Trailblazers to the championship.
No,
Before
clearly
Bill
not.
Walton got hurt, he was amazing. Probably one of the top 2 or 3 players in the game, let alone on his team.
And even in the
Just popping off like that. I don't disagree. I think Dwight Howard should be in the top 75, and he'll probably be in the top 100 when they announce the 125 years. But Jason and I were talking. When he was in Orlando, he was a dominant player, and he was recognized as one of the best players in the world.
he had 5 first-team All-NBAs, 3 first-team All-Defensive Players. He won Defensive Player of the Year, and he was in the MVP conversation every year, and took a team to the finals.
And highly regarded as a face of the NBA and entertaining and a slam dunk contest and everything else.
And
he checked every box.
And he beat LeBron James to go to the finals and lose to Kobe Bryant.
Right.
I mean,
but then he makes some bad career decisions.
Yeah, somebody said that if he got hurt before he signed with the Lakers, like if that was the end of his career, he would have been on the team, no questions asked.
Probably so. But he goes to the Lakers and disappears.
Yeah.
Which is followed up by going to the Rockets and not fitting in. Followed up by going to the Hawks and not being a factor. And then going back to the Lakers and having a decent run as a sub. But not NBA 75 worth being a sub.
To be fair, the second Chris Paul got to the Rockets, he wanted off the Rockets. Russell Westbrook wanted away from the Rockets. The guy that was the James Harden that played for the Rockets didn't seem like the kind of guy you'd want on your team.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems like he's kind of taken a lesson. He seems like a slightly different player in Brooklyn, but, that's 3 players in a row of star quality that he brought in there that quickly wanted to not be a part of that.
Yeah, and then he goes to Atlanta and disappears. Did he go anywhere else? Am I missing a team?
I think those are the major ones. He might have had a coffee halfway through. But he's, I also, the first Lakers run, he was coming off a back injury and he already wasn't Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
But I don't think he mentally knew he wasn't Dwight Howard. Where I feel like these last couple of runs with the Lakers, I feel like he understands his role and who he is, and he's settled into that spot. Like with Carmelo, Carmelo's first year of not being Carmelo was very difficult on Carmelo.
Yeah.
I think a lot of players can't handle that transition of, now I'm just a role player.
But when you and I were in Orlando, we got to see Dwight Howard at his apex. And he was dominant. He was fun to watch.
He was. Now, I know that, he's a weird guy. I think he owns like 25 snakes. His teammates don't seem to really want to hang out with him socially. So, and the media has never been a big, Dwight Howard fan. So I think that, those things. But on a weird way, maybe not making the best 75 was the best thing that's happened to Dwight. Because now we're talking about Dwight.
Yeah.
More than we would have if he made it,
And, people will go back and they'll look at parts of his career that maybe they weren't aware of.
Yeah. And I think
maybe it is good.
Yeah, because, like you said, when there's 100, it's hard to imagine he wouldn't be on the 100. And as people point out, if you're going to, as Perkins clearly picked the wrong person, if you want to take somebody off there, if you want to put somebody on their list, you have to also offer up somebody to take off the list. Because otherwise, you haven't finished the argument.
Right.
You could be like, yes, he deserves to be there, and so he should replace. And, Bill Walton can't be your argument. Now, I could see, some people have had a problem with Dame Lillard being on there, which I think he's probably the most controversial I would say, right now.
Yeah, I mean, great player, but hasn't really accomplished anything.
No. And he's still got a couple years left in his prime to get something done, but as of right now. And then the other interesting argument I saw is, when they did the 50, they left off our boy Dominique, who made the 75, so congratulations to Neek. Well deserved. But when they did the 50 initially, they put Shaq on when Shaq was still kind of a pup. Remember?
Yeah.
And some people were arguing that, maybe Luca or somebody like that should have been on the future-proof the list. But I feel like you just wait till 100, personally. I don't think you probably should have put Shaq on the 50. Not that he's not 50, but at the time, he wasn't 50,
Yeah, you could make that argument, but I would have probably put him on.
Because it's hard to be speculative as to is he an all-time great based on, because Lucas had 3 historic seasons. But, as we transition into what do you think of the NBA so far, week 1, Dallas is a team that looks just like Dallas has looked for the last 3 years. And I don't know what you do if you're Dallas.
No, we talked in our shows last year about what they needed to do. And they didn't do anything.
No.
They're basically the same team we were watching. I mean, they're good, but they're not going to be great because they've got holes.
Yeah, and I didn't like the Jason Kidd hiring because you look, the second he left his last coaching job in Milwaukee, they won 60 games and they became a great team. And he's just not a great coach, I don't think. Never mind the personal issues aside. But, Porzingis is just an albatross on that team. I know he's only 26, but he's a huge, he takes up a giant chunk of your cap. And I don't know what you get from him night to night.
That's absolutely true. The Lakers right now are about what I would think. It's a lot of adjustment to be made. I'm like Aaron Rodgers. I'm not blowing the panic whistle on that. It's going to take a while to figure out how to get all these people to play together on the court at the same time and understand their roles and, see what's going to happen. If they go 0-10, it's not going to surprise me.
And, as we look recent history, Russ's first couple months in Houston were really rough, and then they sort of figured out a way to get him to work, and he worked great. And in Washington, they started out terrible. He got hurt, then he came back, and they made a playoff run. So,
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Carmelo will be fine. They'll all be fine.
Yeah.
Maybe Dwight Howard and AD won't be fine, but, we'll have to see.
Well, because, they said they're brothers, they won a championship together, it's no big deal. But you saw the dust-up with Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard yesterday, right? Or 2 days ago, I guess now at this point.
Yeah, that was a dust-up. That wasn't... I didn't take that lightly.
No.
That looked like much more than a disagreement.
And especially during, game 2 of the NBA season. Maybe if it's, maybe in a playoff game, a missed assignment, you get real beefy. But this early on, it seemed a little, I don't know. The Miami Heat. But the Miami Heat always looks good in the regular season. I don't think that's going to be a problem for them. Because they're playing,
Your Knicks look good.
The Knicks look good. And I still like that the Knicks aren't committed to any of these players too long term. Because none of them look like they're the future guys. I really like what the Bucks look like.
And I like Charlotte. I've been impressed with Charlotte.
Yeah, this ball seems like he's got it right,
Well, this Charlotte, if they stay healthy, they're going to be a very interesting team.
Yeah. I think they could be
a big thing against stay healthy.
Yeah. Gordon Hayward is, a big chunk of that team. And if, when he was healthy last year, they were great. And when he went out, they fell hard.
So we'll see where they go. Phoenix looks good. The Nets are going to be fine with or without Kyrie. I don't see any problem there at all.
Yeah, I think the only issue you have there, and I'm sure Steve Nash will figure it out, is, Brown played really well for them last year. And then you brought back LaMarcus Aldridge. You added Paul Millsap. You already have Blake Griffin. So you've got, proven veteran guys that are hoping to get minutes. And maybe those aren't the guys that should be getting those minutes.
Yeah, you got to figure out your mix and figure out what's going to be and figure out who's going to play that role. Is Harden going to be the point forward? What are you going to play?
And I'm sure you'd like some closure on the Kyrie matter at some point.
Yeah.
He's going to be here. He's not going to be here. We're going to trade him. We're not going to, he obviously makes them better. You look at, the small sample size they all played together, like even when it was just him and Harden or just him and KD, the numbers were off the charts. And again, I know numbers can be deceiving because you don't know who they played or what was going on with those teams at the time, but he's an awesome player.
There's no doubt when he wants to be and when he's in the mood. But he just doesn't meet my standards for being a team player.
No. And again, now, the Ben Simmons thing is happening. And I've heard the Ben for Kyrie, you take our trash, we'll take your trash kind of situation. But apparently neither team has actually brought that up. But that's kind of a fun trade.
Yeah, I don't think that happens. I don't know what happens with either of those guys.
No, but both those guys are just, huge distractions and question marks hanging over their really good teams.
Yeah.
And again, I said this, I think I've said it for the last 2 years. Like, I've been trying to move Ben Simmons off that team for a while now, just because, Embiid is a ticking time bomb. He's a 7-footer who weighs over 300 pounds with foot and knee issues. And right now, he continues to be one of the best players in basketball. And you can't waste years of his prime, trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. And you could have got value for him a year ago or 2 years ago, and now you got stuck with him. But you're still holding his career up, and I don't think that's smart for Philly. But it's a young season.
Young season. It's going to be a fun season.
Yeah. I guess we should take a quick congratulations, Braves, Astros. Yay.
Well, I'll congratulate the Braves, and I like the Braves. I'm happy the Braves won. I think they're a really nice team, and I like the players on the team. Not a big Dodger fan with a $300 million payroll, so I was happy to see them take an exit. The Astros, I still have a bad taste in my mouth from the cheating scandal before, so I root for the Braves. But you know what, Jason? I'm just not that captivated. As much as I love baseball, I'm not that captivated to watch.
I know, and
I
that's...
probably didn't watch an entire game other than when the Rays played the Red Sox. I liked that series. That was an interesting series to me. But other than that, I haven't watched the whole game. And I don't think I've ever said that before.
And I was about to say, I was like, you're the biggest baseball fan I know. So if they haven't captivated you, those networks and Major League Baseball can't be happy right now.
No, I'd rather watch football. I'd rather watch, the college games that are on those nights. I always find those interesting, the Coastal Carolinas and those matchups.
Yeah, they're fun.
So I'm fine watching that instead.
And I guess speaking of college football, more teams went down this week.
Yeah, more teams went down. It's interesting what we've got. Alabama just jumped over Oklahoma because Oklahoma was losing to Kansas 10-0 at the half. Now, they blew Kansas up in the second half. And it was a controversial call that they got away with. I think forward progress was stopped and it turned into a big play for them. When Caleb Williams took the ball from a running back that was stopped and then went forward and made a first down on fourth down. Otherwise, maybe it's a different game. So yeah. I thought that was a bad call. But, Oklahoma's good with Caleb Williams as quarterback. They didn't need to drop from 3 to 4.
No.
But it's just we're in love with Alabama, so we're going to keep putting Alabama up there.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Alabama, Georgia, whenever it happens. We'll see. I really think Georgia's legitimate. I think they're the real deal. We'll have to see.
And I'm excited to see what Cincinnati does in the playoffs.
Yeah, I am too. Although they had a lackluster game yesterday too.
They did. Yeah, Georgia's been the team that's looked, say what you will about the teams they played. They've been the only team that's looked, borderline unstoppable this year. They've looked like the juggernaut.
It's been interesting, yeah, to say the least. We got some good matchups coming up.
Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama. That's just some great football coming.
And then I watched Penn State, Illinois, and it was 9 overtimes.
Yeesh.
And 6 of the overtimes were you're basically trying to make a 2-point conversion. They
right.
changed the rule. and 7 times neither team could do it. It's incredible.
Incredible.
And the passes that were thrown were horrible, and the plays that were called were awfully predictable. I mean, I walked away saying Penn State, who I was very impressed with in the Iowa game until the quarterback got hurt, they had the quarterback back, and they looked terrible. I had Penn State so red. I had been looking forward to Penn State, Michigan, and Penn State, Ohio State. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State. I'm looking forward to both of those games. I think they'll be good games.
Oh, yeah.
So those are something to look forward to. We got Georgia, Florida, which is always a really good game, but Florida's got 2 losses now. But it's really probably the only team that could knock Georgia off until they play Alabama.
Presumably, although this year's been a little crazy.
It has been a little crazy. Like, if I was picking an upset yesterday, I would have picked LSU to beat Ole Miss because I thought they would play for Coach Ed.
Yeah.
But Mississippi kicked their butt. And Mississippi got crushed by Alabama, and they've looked good. They've looked really good against everybody else.
Like I said, weird year. You said weird year.
Weird year, but I predicted Oklahoma State to lose to Iowa State because they won at Texas, and that happened. So that was unfortunate. But, it keeps me grounded because I don't know what would have been worse, Oklahoma State being undefeated going into Bedlam and getting their ass kicked by Oklahoma, or going in with 1 loss and coming out with 2. So I'm just a realist in that score.
Okay. Well, as we transition to the NFL, I guess you have to say congratulations once again to Thomas Brady. That was 600th NFL touchdown.
Yeah, they're up 21-0 right now.
Yeah.
And it's not that close.
No.
And it's a good thing the Bucs have a bunch of guys out with injuries. Or it would be worse.
I suppose it is.
Kudos to the Bengals. I mean,
Yeah.
The Bengals laid one on the Ravens today.
It was.
And in Baltimore, and they looked dominant. As much as everybody talked all week about, are the Ravens the best team in the AFC, if not the NFL? And they went on and on and on all week about that, and they get their lips beat off today.
And Lamar did some Lamar things, and for the most part, they kept him in check.
Yeah. And speaking of keeping things in check, the Titans kept Patrick Mahomes in check.
Oh.
And it was the first game since Patrick Mahomes started playing quarterback where Kansas City didn't score a touchdown.
And he got outthrown touchdowns by Derrick Henry.
Yes. Yes. Interesting way to look at it, but yes, he did. Derrick Henry beat him 1-0.
I wonder if that was even a bet on a board anywhere.
It might be. But it's hard to, Jason, it is just so hard to believe that this is the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes these last 4 games. It's hard to believe.
And again, because
nobody saw this coming.
No, they've looked sloppy. They've gotten out-coached. I know they've always had, like, Tyreek Hill is just a freak of nature. But they were doing such a good job of scheming and coaching, and I just haven't seen that from them this year.
And it looks like they frustrate Mahomes into making mistakes.
Which we saw for years with Ben Roethlisberger.
I was just going to say that. You're scaring me. We know the way to make Ben have mistakes is not let him throw deep, and he'll keep trying.
It's sad that this Ben Roethlisberger couldn't have talked to that Ben Roethlisberger and had him dink and dunk a little more when he could have dink and dunk because people were playing
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Burrow wasn't dinking and dunking.
I am absolutely shocked by Kansas City. Absolutely shocked. And Tennessee now is who we thought they were.
Yeah.
So kudos to Tennessee. And they're in first place in their division. And, it look like they're playing really well right now. They look like they figured out. Bud Dupree had his first sack of the year today.
Yeah. Which is good as a Steeler fan because the better he plays, the lower that compensatory pick comes.
Yeah. But he actually looked decent today. He looked like he was playing pretty well.
And again, I'm a Bud Dupree fan. I never thought his was never lack of effort when he was a Steeler,
Yeah.
But yeah,
the Dolphins continue to disappoint, dropping to 1-6 today, six losses in a row.
I know. And the rumbling is that they are in serious discussions with the Texans for Deshaun Watson.
And I don't think it's a Tua problem though.
I don't think so. At this, I mean, he's not helping his case. But I mean, as people have pointed out, the fan base, and I know the fans are not scouts or NFL personnel, but it seems like they've turned on Flores more than Tua. And Flores was the hot guy. He was the hot guy summer.
And we thought, you and I both thought he was.
Yeah, I bought in.
We were definitely thinking that they were going to be in the mix to win that. They would be in the playoffs with Buffalo.
And now it looks like, after a 57-point win, it might be New England back in the playoffs.
Well, they'll make things interesting. But yeah, I mean, the Dolphins just, wow, terrible.
Terrible. Well, the Patriots, I mean, they're 4-3, I think, right now. And, they are what they are. They're the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did not see this Bengal win coming. I was, I thought they might, keep the game close, not blow the Ravens out at home.
No, I didn't see that coming either. I mean, we both know how much improved the Bengals are this year.
Yeah.
We absolutely thought they were really, really good.
What seemed like their offensive line that everybody said they should have addressed with the first-round pick is gelling. And the first-round pick everybody said couldn't catch or get open, put up 180 yards and an incredible touchdown today. So,
and the Bengals defense, which was good last year, is really good again this year.
Yeah. And you got Higgins, Mixon, Perrine, that Uzada, whatever that tight end name, he looked like an absolute beast today.
Yeah.
It's a wacky year in the NFL. And the Cardinals are losing right now.
And the Cardinals are up 7-5.
Oh, they okay, all right. I was like, they were down 5-0 last time I checked. So, okay.
Now it's 7, they just scored. DeAndre Hopkins just scored.
Wacky.
The NFL, just right when you think you got it figured out, like the Ravens thing just shocked. I mean, I'll be shocked all week on that one.
Yeah.
Because they looked so good last week.
And they weren't undefeated coming into this game. So there wasn't that, air of, I think sometimes you have, you get that undefeated and somebody kind of sneaks up on you kind of thing. This was definitely not that.
No.
So, I just don't know.
I don't know either. Well, I want to talk a little bit about this NIL and Brigham Young.
Oh, yeah, please do.
And the guy that has a company called the Break Bars has...
Which now I want to buy.
NIL for all the walk-on players, and there's 32 of them. And so the NIL deal he entered into with the walk-on players is he paid all their tuition. So I guess they're really not walk-on players, but now they got a scholarship. It's just not one of the ones that counts against the NCAA regulations.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an amazing thing to do. And I know the walk-on sports bar guys sponsored walk-ons at LSU. And so I'm seeing people getting really creative with these walk-on, with these NIL things. And I see some really good things happening from it.
Yeah.
So I like some of these fun things that I'm seeing happening. And it's not just the best player getting the deal.
No.
And it's players like Kenny Pickett, the quarterback for Pitt, who's, I guess, a legit Heisman Trophy candidate.
I think so.
Has a deal with a restaurant in Oakland where he can take his offensive line out to dinner every week. And that's his NIL deal. And I mean, that's something that benefits everybody. It's a fun thing, and people want to see Kenny Puckett or Kenny and come see him and the lineman and have dinner. I mean, it's, you know where to go.
Yeah, that's very cool. And again, I mean, it's kind of been going on under the table for so long. It's nice to see it on the table and, other people benefiting. So,
yeah,
very happy with it. I wish I had entertainment and food moments this week, but I simply don't.
Well, I do. So my entertainment moment is American Rust, which is on Showtime. I'm watching on demand because I think the series might have ended this year or it's in their last episode. But if you like Mayor of Eastwood on HBO, which got a lot of good reviews,
Of course.
this is the Western Pennsylvania equivalent of that show, which was set in Eastern Pennsylvania. And neither of these shows will do wonders for people saying, "Wow, I want to go to Pennsylvania and see what's up," because they are the gringiest, dirtiest, grungiest characters ever. Ever.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's pretty wild, but it's a very good show. It's a really entertaining show.
Okay.
It's a good mystery, and it's well acted. Jeff Daniels plays the sheriff, and he does a really good job. Mara Tierney plays the female lead, and she got a little Norma Ray kind of a role. And the murder is very, very interesting how it's all portrayed. So it's a good show. So I would recommend that. And then my food moment was, living in Florida, this is my favorite time of year, stone crab season opened up on the 15th. So we were in Clearwater this past weekend, and the Stone Crab Festival started in Clearwater. And so, with COVID and everything else, they were much smaller celebrations, but they were still celebrations. But I decided I would rather just go to Frenchie's seafood market and buy my stone crabs and bring them home and have them. So I went there, I bought some stone crabs, I bought some Key West pink shrimp, and I bought some she crab soup, and that's what Mom and I had yesterday, and it was absolutely delicious.
Nice.
So it was as good as any restaurant food I would have had, and we had a lot of it because we bought it, brought it home, and fixed it. So it was great.
Nice.
And then my negative food moment that I talked to you about was a Goldbelly purchase from Cane's Donuts, and they just weren't very good. It was a day late, which I know they're having a lot of problems with shipping things now.
Right.
So I mean, I'm a little tolerant about that, but the donuts were like just really gummy, really bready.
And I understand the shipping thing, but when you're paying the premium money for a Goldbelly, they need to find a way.
Yeah, they need to find a way, but and like you and I were talking offline, I mean, there should be a standard if you're going to be on Goldbelly. There should be a standard that I hold you to.
Because I feel like when you first turned me on to Goldbelly, like 75% of the restaurants on there were places I had heard of from watching, Dave Chang or other food shows of like, these are the places, if you're in this city, this is the restaurant you go to. And Anthony Bourdain was like, when you're in Chicago, you go here. And now I feel like, specifically, there's a couple of New Orleans restaurants on there that nobody in New Orleans thinks are that good. So it just seems like they're, I know it's business. It's more money. You're making, money by shipping through them. And it's good for Goldbelly and their employees and their stockholders. But at some point, you don't want to lose the...
No, you want it to have the appeal. You want, when you get something... it's like Christmas sometimes when it comes.
Oh, yeah.
You're so excited about it, and, you've read about it, or you've had it before, you've eaten at the restaurant, you want to have the food and everything you're excited about. But,
Yeah. Oh, I guess I will give my one... If you have the taste of a teenager, which I occasionally do, and you watch... you could watch One of Us is Lying, which was based apparently on a New York Times bestselling book. But it's like a CW whodunit. Like a CWWB.
Okay.
There's there's a kid in high school. He runs an online gossip column about the kids in school. And he plants these 4 stories out there. He's in detention with 4 kids, and he dies. He's poisoned with it doesn't really matter. That's not really the plot. But basically now you have 4 suspects, and the show is called One of Us is Lying. And they're trying to figure out who actually did it. And
it sounds like an interesting show.
Yeah, like I said, it's got a bit of that CWWB kind of cheese corn to it,
Mm-hmm.
And they act like, they look and act like high school kids. Like they make some dumb mistakes, which is kind of, I guess, realistic. But if you're in for like a light mystery show, one that if you're checking your fantasy scores or, you scroll through Instagram or Twitter during it, you're not going to really miss that much. But you'll still be intrigued, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So not a full-on, entertainment recommendation, but, if that's what you're looking for, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you
I think
think,
that's all I have this week.
yeah, and if anybody listening thinks we missed a snub on the All NBA team, please, tweet at my dad or email the show or comment on the
Yeah,
video
let us know.
or anything else, sports or entertainment, food, whatever you want to know about. But that specifically too. And have a good week.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Oh, and happy Halloween.
Oh, enjoy Halloween. One of Jason's favorite holidays. Enjoy your Halloween time.
All righty.